O captain, my captain, our fearful trip is done. The ship has weathered every rack, the prize we sought is won. The port is near, the bells I hear, the people all exulting, while follow eyes the steady kneel, the vessel grim and daring. But oh heart, 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 oh the bleeding drops of red, where on the deck my captain lies, fallen cold and dead. O captain, my captain, rise up and hear the bells. Rise up, for you the flag is flung, for you the bugle trills. For you bouquets and ribbons, wreaths, for you the shores are crowding, for you they call, the swaying mass, their eager faces turning. Here, captain, dear father, the arm beneath your head. It is some dream that on deck you've fallen cold and dead. My captain does not answer, his lips are pale and still. My father does not feel my arm, he has no pulse nor will. The ship is anchored safe and sound, its voyage closed and done. From fearful trip the victor's ship comes in with object won. Exult, O shores, and ring, O bells.
On April 14th, 1865, Abraham Lincoln, President of the United States during the Civil War, was assassinated. The nation was in shock because the war was just won and the president's death was a sad and unjustified end to the fighting. All across the United States, people were expressing their grief, including famous poet Walt Whitman. Whitman was a huge supporter of Lincoln because he felt like he was a perfect person to lead America in the Civil War because of his character and courage. The death of the president inspired Whitman to write one of his most revered poems called O Captain, My Captain, which was published in New York's Saturday Press in November of 1865 and was met with immediate acclaim. This poem's spirit and triumphant message hit home with Americans in the aftermath of the Civil War.
Fallen cold and dead. This is the analysis of the stanza. In the poem, the captain is supposed to symbolize Abraham Lincoln. The ship is supposed to symbolize the United States, and the fearful trip that they take is a symbol of the Civil War. And when the ship returns to claim the victory, it was also meant to symbolize the Union coming home after they won the war. And in line 5, when the phrase "Oh heart, heart, heart" shows true grief he felt from the captain's death, and the poem is about the speaker coming to terms with sadness and grief as much as it is about the captain. And in the last two lines, when it talks about bleeding drops of red, it is meant to signify the captain bleeding literally and the speaker bleeding from the heart.
In this stanza, they talk about how the captain will not receive the credit he deserves for the victory because of his death. The bells of the second stanza are presumably the bells rung in the celebration of military victory. However, knowing this great captain and leader has died, the bells might also symbolize funeral bells tolled in the morning. The flag is flown as a symbol of the respect for the captain and a symbol of celebrating the victory. The bugle is an instrument that is important in the military and is a symbol of victory as well. Bouquets and wreaths are also common to both celebratory receptions and funerals. The throngs of people are representative of the people across the nation mourning Lincoln's death and a symbol of the people who celebrated the Union's victory. The crowds show that the speaker was not alone in grieving the death of the captain and that it was felt by great masses. The speaker calls his captain father. In this manner, Whitman expands the metaphor for Lincoln past just a military leader, but into a fatherly role in which he leads his children to safety. The speaker asserts this that it must be a bad dream, and here the poem captures the speaker's denial. The emotional impact of Lincoln's demise has made it almost impossible for the speaker to accept it. And lastly, the refrain, "Fallen cold and dead," is slightly altered in this stanza in that it is apparently addressed to the captain. The effect is to, again, reinforce the speaker's difficulty in coming to terms with his captain's death Even though his captain is dead, the speaker continues to speak to him as though he were alive. Chiefs.
In the third stanza, the speaker is no longer holding out any hope and comes to grip with the captain's death. The images such as his pale lips and lack of pulse help to reinstate that the captain is in fact dead. The speaker talks about the captain in third tense, which helps indicate that he knows that he is dead. And now that he accepts the captain's death, he can move on to focusing on military victory. And while exulto shores and ringo bells is used to rejoice, the speaker is not going to do so yet. He celebrates the end of the war, but he still mourns the death of his fallen hero.
This poem is built off of symbolism and is filled with embedded meaning that gives this poem purpose. I personally enjoy this poem a lot because it is very applicable with many different scenarios. When faced with adversity, one must step up, unite the people, and lead them. Oftentimes the one who does the work and leads the people does not always get to see the end result. Also, when your hero or leader goes away, you often feel confused, but you must come to terms with it and try to move on. People throughout history, such as Abe Lincoln, Martin Luther King, and Moses, have gone before getting to see the end result of their work, but their work and their vision lived on through the people who they touched with their leadership. This applies to my life because when my mom's brother died, it devastated her. He was her oldest sibling, and she always looked up to him, and because he helped raise her. When he died, she didn't know what to do, and it took a while to sink in before she could grieve the loss. Then she was able to celebrate his life and move forward, much like the speaker did in the poem.